Hi, LUMC. Thank you for everyone who has participated or contributed in any way to organizing or making the mental health and faith events work. It's very meaningful that you are hosting them, and um, what a beautiful impact Travis is continuing to make through each of you. I wanted to share just two things really about grief that I think would be helpful for you to know. The first is about what I have learned about grief so far, and I'll just say, to that too, grief has been very humbling. You know, I'm learning every day what grief is and what it means, and um, some days I think I'm figured it out, and then the next day, um, I remember that there's not anything to figure out, and that I'm still very much, I think, learning from grief, um, grief as a teacher. One of the one of the things I have learned about grief as a student of grief is that it's not just one thing. I think that maybe when we think about grief, it looks like um, weeping and crying on the ground, which I have done, and which I'm positive I'll do sometime in the future very soon, maybe later today. But grief is also profound gratitude, and grief is um, this intense feeling of connection and empathy with others who have lost um, people that they have loved, or people who are grieving a life that they thought they had and that they no longer have, because you can grieve a lot of different things. And so losing Travis has helped me to feel profound connection basically to anyone who has suffered, um, because um, I have suffered too. And and so I think as a result, it has softened me, and grief has invited me to gentleness and grace for myself. Not, I don't have to push as hard, maybe as I did in other times of my life before I learned what grief had to offer me. Um, but also grace and gentleness with others, because now I can know and recall the fact that it is very likely that the person standing in line in front of me, or who cut in front of me in on the highway, has known grief in some way, and I can extend gentleness and grace to them as well. And I will say that it is the gentleness and grace that Travis taught me um, when he was here on earth. I think it is a gentleness and grace that he was so good at giving to others. And I think that he teaches me how important it is to give that grace and gentleness to ourselves. And I think at times it was hard for him to do that. So grief is all of those things. It's not just profound sadness and loss. It's a teacher, and I think it's made me um, a better human. And that's not to say that I love it or that I wish it on anyone. Um, and this is not just to make some kind of silver lining out of something awful. It's just the truth that um, once you experience grief, you become a fuller human, because at some point, all of us lose something that we love. And it's just a part of the human experience. And I once heard someone say that the way that their grief had changed them and the person that their grief had made them into was um, their loved one's gift to the world. And so I think of it that way too, that the person that grief is making me, the gentler, softer, more gracious person, more empathetic person, um, more humble person, sometimes weak, sometimes strong. This person that grief has made, this is Travis still living in the world. And this is Travis's ongoing gift to the world. And I think for those of you who know and grieve Travis, you are that ongoing gift and presence of Travis in the world as well. I want to just end by saying one last thing, because I told Paul I would only make this 5 minutes. And that's just that if you know someone who is grieving, um, just be present. You don't have to have the right things to say. And in fact, I would suggest not feeling like you have to say anything at all, but just being present. And I'll just offer that I have this one friend who every morning texts me and says hello. And that's it, and sometimes I'll pick up the thread from there if I'm having a bad day um, and then she knows how I'm doing. But um, it's it means a lot just to show up for someone. And um, grief can make us uncomfortable. We can feel like we don't want to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing to upset someone. But just showing up, whether that's sending a text or um, dropping something by their home, or maybe even stopping by and just seeing if they need anything, that kind of presence has been really sustaining to me. And it's been, of course, another way that Travis has made his presence known to me through the presence and the love of others. I see Travis continuing to live in the world today. So don't be afraid to just text that person or just show up on their doorstep even, and they can tell you if they're not ready to see someone, and you can just say, okay, well, I'm here. Um, and just that presence can really mean a lot to someone. Um, I'm gonna say one more thing, and that's it. That's just that. Every day, I am awed by the way that Jesus um, made God present in this life. Um, so Jesus felt what it feels like to suffer in a body and um, to love people who die and to be someone who um, in body dies. And knowing that Christ weeps with us and suffers alongside us um, is an enormous source of comfort to me. And it's also an enormous source of comfort that I have so many people standing beside me and being the hands and feet of Christ and the hands and feet of Jesus. And so I wish you all that feeling of just the abiding presence, not only of Jesus, but also of your communities of support. And I pray that you can be that community of support as well. You certainly have been for me.